All in favor, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda's amended. Now, with that amendment, do I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Got one by Dr. Strickland,
Second.
second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is now adopted with that one amendment. All right, you have the minutes for March the 4th and March the 10th of 2025 in front of you. We need to approve those. Can I get a motion to approve them? Got a motion by Ms. Grice,
Second.
second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are now adopted.
Next.
Okay. At this point, we need, Mr. Nolan, do we have any public comments?
No, sir. There are no public comments listed.
There are no comments listed, so we can move on to curriculum and instruction, Columbus County Indian education presentation.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. First on the curriculum and instruction and accountability, we have Ms. Tamara Carter, Ms. Darlene Graham, and Ms. Courtney Graham Patrick, and they will be doing an Indian education presentation. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, ladies.
Thank you, and first of all, let me say good afternoon, and want to say thank you for your continued support with our Indian education program of Columbus County Schools. You guys are always visible anytime we have any type of event, and you also volunteer your service to help us when needed, so thank you again. Okay, so, and again, as Mr. Beck mentioned, I do have Ms. Courtney Graham Patrick. Ms. Patrick is at East Columbus High School, and Ms. Darlene Graham, she's at Hallsboro-Teacher Elementary School. Okay. So Ms. Darlene is at Hallsboro-Teacher full-time, and Ms. Courtney is at East Columbus. She's there full-time, but she's part-time Indian education and part-time global facilitator. So she still works with students the entire day at East Columbus High School. Our budget, so just a little bit about Indian education. It is a grant that we have to apply for every year, and it supports the efforts of school districts, Indian tribes, and organizations, post-secondary institutions, and other groups to meet the unique educational and culturally related needs of American Indian and Alaskan Native students. These efforts help them meet the same challenging state academic standards as all other students. And our budget's around $81,814, and that budget pays for our assistant salaries, and then it pays for half of the students' registration for NCNEO. And you've probably asked, what is NCNEO? NCNEO stands for North Carolina Native American Youth Organization, and so each year there's a conference in June, and we are able to send around 25 students. We rotate to different universities. Last year, we were at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, and this year we will be at UNCW. So students stay in the dorm room. They get to experience college life. They eat in the cafeteria. They go to different class sessions. So it's a really good experience. It's a 4-day event for the students. And again, Indian education, the registration is $200. Indian education pays for half. Then the parents are responsible for paying the other half. If parents are not able to pay that $100, then we reach out to the community for support. And we had some students that were not able to pay that $100, so I met with those students week before last, and we have a donor that covered that $100 for those students. Because we don't want any student that wants to participate in this conference not to be able to go because of financial need. Okay. You see our assistant roles. They monitor attendance of all Indian students. You know, our focus in Columbus County this year, we have a big focus on attendance, so we're monitoring attendance. Make home visits when necessary, telephone calls, send correspondence to parents, monitor and collect the Indian Education 506 forms. But the reason for that is for them to be included in our count. they have to have the 506 form on file stating that they are American Indian, they have either a tribal card, or their parent or their grandparent has a tribal card, or that American Indian affiliation on file. Okay? Make referrals to community agencies, conduct a craft workshop, college field trips. Ms. Courtney especially does that with East Columbus. Anytime we have college field trips, she goes with the students on those field trips. And STEAM method of teaching while implementing North Carolina standards. And Ms. Darlene will talk a little bit more about that. And then these roles are continued, and mostly being present, having that voice at the school anytime they need assistance, whether it's filling out college applications, applying for a FAFSA, just any type of need they have at the school. Okay. We also like to keep track of our students after they graduate. So these are our students that graduated last school year, and you'll see their names listed, and some are in the workforce, some are at different universities, some are at Southeastern Community College, and Mr. Isaac Dingle, I did get up with his mama, and he is at Southeastern Community College, so if you want to make a note on that, and I'll edit this presentation to add that. He is at Southeastern Community College. Okay. School projects, you'll see some of the different projects here. The ornament balls are made by our students at the high school level. These are pictures of students at our Indian Heritage Program at Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School. So just a different variety of activities that they participate in. Okay. Academics are very important, but we want to create the whole child. So we want them to be involved in extracurricular activities, sports, community involvement. And so each year, the State Advisory Council of Indian Education has a report that comes out, and that report is always a year behind. So our last report came out in April 2024. And that had test results of 22-23. But I went a step further and added our 23-24 results, last school year's results. And I really want to highlight, if you look at our 4-year cohort graduation rate of American Indian students, you see we're at 88%. We are above the district and the state average. So we really want to make sure that we focus on our students and we get them to graduate. Okay? And also you'll see on the sheet we had some years, especially during the COVID years, where our students did not perform well. A lot of that had to do with, I'll be completely honest with you, our American Indian population, some parents were just afraid to send their kids to school. But you can see they're back in school, and you can see how the performance has increased from 23 to 24. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Darlene and let her talk about STEAM.
Again, thank you for having us. And so a couple of years ago now, we were supposed to, or we are having Cultural Day on Fridays. So we wanted it to be more than just doing a craft. And so what we did, we went in there and we said, let's work with a STEAM program. So we didn't want it to just say, okay, this is a STEAM program. So we reached out to Miss Becky Ham, and she helped us to align it with the standards of North Carolina. And so that's what this is. As you can see, we have our students making corn necklaces, corn bracelets, corn earrings, and things of that nature. So they implemented science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So on the pictures there, you can see where they use measuring, they use creativity in designing, and of course, it's always engineering in a process. Here you see that, again, we are measuring using tapes, and our students did very well with that. Those are some corn necklaces that they designed and created. And here with ACES, we have ACES of Lake Waccamaw. Our students are enrolled in, and we went to the ACES conference in Texas and did a workshop there. ACES is American Indian Science Engineering Society. And so here again, we have our students that are planting. And when you do planting, there's always science involved, always technology, engineering, the whole 9 yards is involved with that. And our students have fun with that. Not only do we do traditional ways of art, we also have volunteers that came in and helped us with Sparrow. Sparrow is a robot there, and there's also ways that we use to create traditional knowledge with storytelling, and that robot's going to help us tell that story. Actually, tomorrow, we will have Science Day at Hallsboro Artesia, and our students will tell a story with Sparrow. Again, we have our students learning how to use Sparrow, and I'll tell them, hey, y'all go ahead and do this, learn this, because this is a little bit, y'all got this. And they will. They're doing an awesome job with the robots. These are some of our younger students here on the left. He's just programming it with blocks. It's a program that's in there, and it's called Blocks. So he has programmed it. And our students are really enjoying. Right there on the left, we have where we used to burn, and that was another traditional knowledge that we used there, burning our lands off and what a fire needs in order to burn. Storytelling is a part of STEAM. You know, art and storytelling goes hand in hand, and they use symbols to tell the stories. And not only do we work with our Native American children, we implement the fact that we include non-natives as well, so we want to share our culture with others. And we always got to have fry bread.
Should have brought us some.
We need a sample.
Next time we'll have you. And so we learned about the wetlands. Again, we had a Canberra grant that was with the tribe. And so the tribe's always helping us out with Indian education. Our students, this was where we had to do artwork to send to the Unity Conference. And our children placed. We had children to place, so I was very proud of them. Venus Flytrap. We were involved with a Venus Flytrap program with the museum in Raleigh, and so it's called Project Restore. We went down to Carolina Beach to do some of that restoring the Venus Flytraps there. Courtney went along with us. Our high school students went, and they just had an awesome time with Venus Flytraps, learning the importance of it. And this is just where I kind of help them out and tutor them along. We don't just do crafts, we are tutoring as well.
Okay, and then these two pictures, really excited about these two pictures. The picture on the left, I was at Hallsboro Artesia a couple weeks ago just to go and do a school visit, and Miss Darlene asked me to tell my story. I am a product of Columbus County Schools, a product of Indian education, and I was the first computer apprentice student of Columbus County Schools when I was in high school a long time ago. So I shared my story with the students that Miss Darlene had with her that day. And it's good for the kids to put a face with a story like mine and the way I've come full circle, you know, being a student that graduated from East Columbus High School, went on to work with North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and then coming back to Columbus County Schools. So it's full circle moment there. And then the picture on the right, when we had school day at Hallsboro Artesia Elementary School, Dr. Angie Molinex with DPI and Dr. Leslie Locklear, which is our Indian Education Director, they wanted to come out and see our Indian Education program, and they were completely amazed at our Indian Education program, and especially this next picture, because you see the next picture, you see not only our students, but you see our community support. So these are people that from our community that volunteered their time to come out and do different workshops, whether it be medicine wheel workshops, basket weaving, pottery, fry bread, just volunteering their time to spend with our students. And we never have any problem getting volunteers. Anytime we say we have a need for someone to come out and spend their time with our students, they always are willing to come and do that.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Let me just point out, I did see our finance director, Mr. Nolan, in the
Yes.
picture as well.
Yes, yes, yes. And Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson were there that day also, but they had other meetings going on and had to leave before they were able to be a part of the picture. So, and again, at any time, I let Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson, and also you as board members, you guys are always there to support that, and that really means a lot. And our students notice that and appreciate that.
So here we have school day, and we talked to them about our healing green space, and I think some of you guys were out there, and we do appreciate it. We appreciate all the support you guys give us. A couple of weeks ago, we went to Science for All Summit, and we gave a presentation there, Rooted in Wellness, Cultivating Native Plants for Health, Culture, and STEM Education. And we also have a Padlet. That can be scanned, and we can go in that Padlet and see what is there. And that was just part of our Rooted in Wellness presentation that was given there.
Okay, so November is Indian Heritage Month, and we try to go out and share our knowledge as much as possible. This year, we were able to go to Williams Township, Southeastern Community College, and East Columbus High School. For next year, what we would like to do is to be able, with the help of Mr. Kelly Jones, to be able to do something virtually, and that way every student in Columbus County is able to participate in our Indian Heritage Month in November.
We made jam with traditional indigenous program, and it was taken to the fair. Kids enjoyed that. The students really enjoyed doing that jam. School day again, and I also want to mention the fact that Courtney and I have created lesson plans that go along with all of these workshops, and it involves STEAM, and they meet the standards. What do you see taking place? And that was a question that we just asked in our presentation. And I showed students one way to do something, but they did it an entirely different way, and it worked. It worked. So we let them, we don't do the cookie cutter thing. Here we have a volunteer that's come in, and our students made pottery. Volunteers, once again, with Venus Flytrap and Miss Rios there. And those are just some pictures there of our students working. Again, those are students that went down to Carolina Beach, planted those Venus flytraps, went back, and we looked at them, and they're still thriving. We taught them how to beat the drum. I kind of get off rhythm sometime, but I get somebody else to help to do that. Measurements always important in making whatever we make. Students helping students, that's a big thing for us. Helping out, teamwork, that's a part of critical thinking.
Each year, United Tribes of North Carolina has scholarships. Each of those are $500, and students are eligible to apply for those scholarships. And this past year, we had 2 recipients, Michaela Carter and Miss Cadence, sorry. And then this past year was the first time of the Back the Braid scholarship. It was a $5,000 scholarship. Again, that's my daughter, Michaela Carter. She was one of the first recipients of that $5,000 scholarship. Again, more information. We did some videos during COVID. And COVID did teach us a lot of things, some new methods of learning, and so we have that video in there. And then our last slide, that is a picture of Miss Shirley Freeman, one of our elders, one of our former Indian education assistants, and we always want to make sure we honor our elders because they are the ones who paved the way for us. Okay.
And so I do want to show you this. Y'all saw that we were measuring, and so this is the product that our students have made, one of the things.
Any questions for us?
I-
Just one.
Go ahead. You can go.
Sorry.
I'll be right ahead.
You said one of the things that you guys are doing is tracking attendance. How is attendance in the American Indian population compared to the rest of the school?
So it's better this year than it has been in the past. One issue that we still struggle with is late arrivals and early checkouts. So we try to make sure we have conversations with our parents, those dental visits, doctor appointments, please, if at all possible, schedule those appointments after school is out. So it's still a work in progress.
And I was just going to say that on behalf of Mr. Thompson and I, we always enjoy the presentations that we attend, the events that we attend. Definitely enjoyed the gardening and learning about all the medicinal purposes of the native plants. So you guys are doing a great job. It's very interesting and definitely very beneficial for our students. So we thank you so much.
The thing,
Kind of make the same comment Mr. Beck did. The school days I've been for the last several years, and it's just amazing to me that what you guys put on that day, it's unbelievable. What you are able to demonstrate out there to all of our students in our school, and I just want you to know we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I was able to stop by on Thursday when, Ms. Darlene, you had the 8th graders from East Columbus at the Tribal Grounds, and I appreciate you welcoming all of our students. And you're right, your support in our school is vital. Your community steps up always, and we appreciate it. And the tribe partners with East Columbus and Hallsboro all the time, so thank you.
Thank you.
one quick question. The science fair that was done on the Saturday last year, is that going to be done again?
The STEM day?
Yes.
Yes, sir. That will be done again, and we'll make sure we get that date to you, so you guys can
And
attend that again this
I really
year.
enjoyed that as
I did
well.
too.
And people do not realize that the time and effort that you guys are putting into this process, and I would highly encourage all community members to come out and participate because it's very valuable.
Thank you.
I will comment, one thing I enjoyed to hear you say was teaching these kids teamwork and critical thinking and then measuring. That's how I make my livings, with my hands and a measuring tape. And when we have career days and these kids come through, you'll be surprised, probably 75% of them can't read a tape measure. And I explained to them how many things you can do with that. I mean, if you don't, even if you're in computer science or if you're whatever field you go into, there's going to be a time when you need to measure something. So I really applaud you on those hands-on traits that you're giving them, because it's a lost thing. I have one employee that's probably 22, and the rest of them's 45 to 65. So it's hard to get them, and we're working well in Columbus County Schools with that, but they do not have any critical thinking skills. They can't go from step to step. They can't visualize what we need to do next, even when you've shown them several times. So keep working on that, and it'll make a difference.
I have to have a tape measure that spells everything out in big letters.
That's not reading it, tape.
It's reading to me.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ladies.
great job.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, before we move to the next agenda item, I would like to acknowledge our sheriff, Mr. Bill Rogers. Welcome. We appreciate your support of Columbus County Schools as always. Make yourself at home. We appreciate you being here to support Columbus County Schools.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next on the agenda, we have Ms. Shauna Jarrell, and she will be presenting the Human Resource and Licensure presentation.
Good evening again, and thank you all for your time this afternoon to hear a little bit about what we have going on in HR and licensure. I know early on in the year, some of you did have some really great questions about licensure. So I've created this PowerPoint. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to be able to go over every single bullet, and I don't want to read it verbatim to you because I do respect your time. However, this presentation has been made available to you, and you can go back at your leisure and in your free time, and you can look over that presentation, read it in detail, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. But I do want to say thank you so much for your continued support and dedication to the children and the staff and everyone with Columbus County Schools. We do appreciate everything that you all do, and it does not go unnoticed. We appreciate it. So first of all, the purpose of the presentation tonight, like I said, is to just give you an overview of the current teaching licensure requirements, because that can be very complex and difficult, and also to kind of let you guys know about some new things that we are implementing this year to help support our staff. So Licensure 101. So basically what we're talking about tonight is alternative license. As you know, we have many teachers who enter the teaching profession in a non-traditional pathway, and they can achieve alternative license in different areas, but the state of North Carolina has set forth several mandates and requirements in order for those educators to become highly qualified and effective teachers. There are several different types of alternative licenses. Ms. Avonda Pierce is our licensure specialist. She has done an outstanding job this year catching on. She does have a consultant that trains her on a regular basis. She has learned a great deal this year, so I want to commend her as well. First of all, a permit to teach is probably one of the more popular types of alternative licenses that we issue teachers. What some people may not understand about a permit to teach is it's only good for 1 year once in a lifetime. So once you hold a permit to teach, you can never have a permit to teach again. The second type would be an emergency license. Those candidates have to have 18 semester hours in the area in which they are teaching. Sometimes we will go ahead and start with a permit to teach if they do not have the 18 hours to go ahead and get an emergency license upon hire. That gives them a year to go ahead and fulfill those semester hour requirements and take some classes. The next type is a residency license. A residency license is for an individual who enrolls. They've already met the semester hour requirements. So in order to get into a residency program, they have to have 24 hours. We call it an EPP, or an Educational Preparation Program. There are several. UNCW, UNC Pembroke, just because they're close to us, are two very popular ones. We do have people who are at both. It does take 3 years to complete. The EPP does have to issue us a letter stating that the person is enrolled in a residency license for all 3 of those years, okay? The next one is a limited license, and a limited license would be for those individuals who have completed all of their required coursework through an EPP, but have not yet been able to successfully pass their praxis or their licensure exam. Those are the ones for a limited license that we have to have affidavits signed by the principal, the superintendent, and the board chair. And those are good for 3 years. They are renewable every 3 years, but we do have to submit those affidavits. But if it's being renewed, they also, DPI will look at the teacher's EVOS score, and they are going to look at the best 2 of 3 years. If they do not show growth on EVOS, they will deny the license.
Each one of these, one question, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
But each one of these builds on top of an already possessed 4-year degree in college,
Yes,
bachelor's
sir.
degree,
That's a
or
great question. Absolutely. So probably the one that requires the least would be the permit to teach. So really the only qualification there is that you hold a bachelor's degree.
that's,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
And we do have people who have to have a permit to teach because they do not have 18 semester hours already under their belt
Goodness.
to get the emergency license. Great question.
And then the last one is very popular as well. It's a provisional license. That's teachers who already have a continuing license. Let's say I'm a K-6 teacher, but I want to go into EC, or I'm coming out of the classroom, I'm going to be a guidance counselor or an assistant principal, or just in a different area, you can be issued a provisional license. So for Columbus County Schools, we broke the data up for you to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. So for Columbus County Schools, we have 24.7 of our teachers who have a provisional license, 32.9 possess a residency license, which is a good thing, meaning they've already had to meet some pretty dire qualifications to be in that residency program. Limited license, we want that to be low, and it's 15.1%, which is a good thing, meaning most of them are eventually passing that praxis. Emergency license is 8.2%. The reason for that is sometimes after that permit to teach, we can skip emergency and go straight into an RL program if they do what they need to do and they get that coursework done that first year while they have the permit to teach. Yes,
Can
sir.
you back up to that one before that, please?
Limited?
Yes.
Yes.
No, back up the slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So, and I think we've covered this before, but just to make sure I keep it straight in my mind.
Yeah,
The permit to teach is for 1 year,
that's right.
but that doesn't mean you get anything additional you can't go for an emergency license the next year if you have not completed those 18 hours, correct?
That's correct. Another good question. So that is why Ms. Avonda and I both, and I'll kind of jump ahead a little bit because it's very relevant to your question. That is one reason why that this year we have made certain that we met face-to-face with these teachers. So what we did is we held licensure meetings for each licensure type on different days because it can get too confusing. So we met with permit to teach teachers on one day, and then a different day emergency, a different day residency, and so on and so forth. Mr. Beck was very supportive, letting principals, teachers know that it was a requirement for them to attend because it is pertinent, it is imperative to their continued employment and success with Columbus County Schools. We want to support our teachers. We want to grow our teachers. So it's very important that, number one, we give them the knowledge and then the skills and resources necessary to be able to successfully complete licensure requirements. So those meetings were extremely successful. We had a lot of positive feedback from the teachers themselves. They had some good questions and good suggestions that we took back from that we are also working on. And I would say also most, not all, but most of the teachers who could not attend were asked to contact Ms. Avonda Pierce and set up a one-on-one meeting with her just to make certain that we covered everybody. Some of them are coaches, so they may not have been able to attend those meetings, but we did reach out to them and schedule one-on-one so they could come in and sit down and make sure that any questions they had, that we answered those questions. Because, like Mr. Worley was saying, if they have a permit to teach this year, if they haven't fulfilled the 18 semester hours to be eligible for an emergency license next year, they're not employable as far as in a teaching position. So, yes, you were correct.
And Ms. Jarrell, since you did jump ahead, I think this would be the perfect opportunity to tell them what else we have put in place as far as the principles and that acknowledgement.
Yes, so I'll jump ahead, and this is in the slides, but I will jump ahead. So another thing that we did this year to support our alternatively licensed teachers, and also in an effort to help further educate principals, because I will be the first to say, just speaking for myself, as a principal, I knew about licensure types but did not understand the complexity of some of the requirements and also the consequences of teachers not meeting those. So coming from that background, we felt like it would be a great idea. So Mr. Beck and Mr. Thompson required that principals have their alternatively licensed teachers as part of their professional development plan to include a goal that is related to licensure. And so they have done that. And so let me explain a professional growth plan for a teacher, development plan. What it is you meet with them 3 times a year. The first one is you sit down, you develop the goal, You talk about ways that you're going to achieve that goal. How are you going to measure that goal? What's the timeline in meeting that goal? Then you meet again at the middle of the year to see what your progress is towards meeting that goal. So that's the time principal will sit down and say, hey, have you taken your classes, or have you attempted to take the practice, or have you enrolled in an EPP? So just letting them know, hey, we're here to support you, but these are the requirements, you know. What do we need to do to help you get there? So we have included that in their PDPs for this year. And in addition to that, we also developed a Google spreadsheet for every individual school that lists every single teacher at that school's alternative license type with details. So if Shauna Gerald has a permit to teach, but she needs 6 hours, which is 2 courses this year, to get an emergency license next year, I know that as the principal. So we have implemented all of those things to support our teachers.
And that is to prevent any surprises and make sure that we're on the
Like we
same
had
page.
last year.
Correct, Mr. Strickland.
I don't want to
Thank
stop
you.
you, but I do have a quick question. So
Absolutely.
you mentioned something about those meetings that you're having with our employees who have the permit to teach. Do we have very many of them that are coaching also? It would seem to me that coaching might add a
So
extra demand if they're trying to work
we have
toward.
some, not all of them are, but some of them are. But now, let me just add this. That, per policy, that is their choice. They don't have to coach. They're not
Right.
mandated to coach as a BT.
Right.
But it's something they have agreed to do or want to do.
And I
a
can
lot
see
of
where
them
it
do.
benefits.
Yes, and a lot of them do want to coach.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know, it's a little bit more money and, you know,
Right.
for them.
Yes.
But yes, some of them are.
Okay.
But we try to support those individuals to make sure that we work around their schedule. They get the same opportunity to ask the same questions and be given the same information as non-coaches. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'm going to go through this a little bit, but basically another thing I wanted you to know was about 21.7% of our teachers have a form of alternative license. Okay, I'm not going to go over these slides in detail just for the sake of time, but I do, if you have questions, just, you know, save this slide because it's got a lot of information about every single one of these alternative license, and it does get a little complex. I tried to make it any question that you might have, I tried to include that in the slides, but if not, like I said, just reach out to me. So let me fast forward a little bit. The bottom line, though, is for any alternatively licensed teacher, failure to meet these requirements is going to result in the recommendation for non-renewal, meaning the teacher will not be able to continue employment in the current teaching area. This is also important because NCDPI audits licensure and salaries to ensure compliance with state licensure requirements. If I'm a licensed teacher and the state is paying me a state salary, then I need to have a license. If not, the state will send us that as an audit exception, and we have to make that correction. So I just went over those. That was everything that we have implemented this year to support our alternatively licensed teachers. So I'm going to transition now and talk to you a little bit about some new things that HR is doing this year. So we are going to change how our substitute teachers receive their refresher training. As you know, substitute teachers play a vital role in our schools, and we greatly appreciate our substitute teachers. We need them. However, the current process is all online for the refresher course. I'm old school. Online has its place, and it is wonderful at times and convenient at times. But I'm a teacher at heart, always will be. Face-to-face, you can't beat it.
Yep.
So we're going to be bringing those substitute teachers in face-to-face for their refresher training. It will no longer be conducted online. So we have set up some dates and locations already. We have confirmed these with the principals, and we are good to go. So I've included those dates. If you are available any of those times, please feel free to drop in. And just if you even want to say something to our substitute teachers, you are more than welcome to address them at any point in time. I've had a director today, Miss McCready, who asked me if she could come and drop in and speak to them. So I think that's great to support them.
Do they have to have the refresher every year?
Yes, sir. They have to have a refresher course every year. Now, this is the refresher, but we have, so anyone who is new, who's putting in a brand-new request to be, or application to be a substitute teacher, they have to take the effective teacher training course with Southeastern Community College. That is a requirement. They have to do that. But Mr. Beck and I have already decided I will still be meeting with them as well, face-to-face. It will not be everything, because they're going to get some of that already at Southeastern, but it's going to be some very definitive things that I will be going over with them. Columbus County Schools is going to be hosting a job fair. We would love for you to come out and support us. We will set up here in the boardroom. The purpose of that is to connect qualified educators, support staff, professionals with current employment opportunities that we have within our district. This event aims to attract diverse talent, showcase the benefits of working with Columbus County Schools, and support the district's mission to provide high-quality education by building a strong, dedicated workforce. That will be held, Saturday, May 17th from 10 to 1 p.m. here in the boardroom. Each principal will be setting up a table, and they're going to have their own school swag set up. They will be here they can set up to do interviews that day. We'll have spaces available for that. We're going to have some computers available that people can actually go in online and apply for jobs. We will have Mr. Jeff Green here with the bus garage. Hopefully we'll have some bus driver applicants. And then our directors will have their locations set up as well to be available for any interested candidates that day as well. Mr. Kelly Jones is going to also help us to get that out in the media and advertise for our job fair as well.
And last year's was really successful, so I would encourage you guys as board members to come out if you possibly can.
Yes. And I'll say the principals and directors did a great job setting that up. It was, we had a lot of people coming out. We had certified, we had classified people coming in. I remember Mr. Green over there taking applications for bus drivers. It was really good.
How about the colleges? UNCW, Pembroke, did they participate much last year? Have you had any?
Not in ours, because basically what we're doing is whatever job vacancies that we have, that's where we're just like getting people to come in, what you're interested in, what's your degree in, or if you don't have a degree, what would you like to do? We've got that too, you know. So we were taking applicants, trying to schedule interviews, just making that connection. But now to answer your question about the universities, we do partner with them. As a matter of fact, I was on a long Zoom meeting today with Nicole Gexey from UNCW. So she was also telling me about an opportunity where she would be willing to come in as well and join us for a different type of event. And we could include Southeastern and UNCP and something like that as well. But we do partner with them, have a very close relationship with those schools.
And we have in the past and do attend their career fairs as Columbus County Schools trying to recruit students that are graduating.
Nice.
Yes, and I've been as far as Greensboro trying to attract and recruit people, and I try to say we're close to the beach, but you know, I try.
Well, we are.
Yes, we are.
We're an hour away.
We are. So the last thing I want to talk to you about very quickly today is our teacher attrition data. So the attrition data shows how many teachers left their employment in North Carolina Public Schools. It does not include teachers who leave the classroom but stay employed in non-teaching roles, such as like if they leave the classroom to go into school administration. Attrition means the separation of employment from a school district with no subsequent employment in any North Carolina public school unit. So attrition and mobility are different. When I start talking about attrition, some people think that I'm talking about teachers who left us and went to, let's say, Bladen County or Whiteville City. That's mobility. Attrition does not include those individuals, just to make that clear. And a vacancy has to be a teaching position that's not filled by an educator with a qualifying license. So if I have a retired teacher in a position and she has a license in that area, I can't count that as attrition. Okay, so basically the highlights from that report I have linked, and Mr. Beck also has a thorough DPI report for you on all the other counties. I tried to highlight the ones who are our neighboring counties, but it is moving in more of a positive direction. So the attrition rate for 23-24, because this goes from March of 23 to March of 24, it was down 9.88%. I mean, it was 9.88%, which was down from 11.5 the previous year. That represents almost 1,500 fewer teachers lost from a total of 89,972 teachers employed in a full-time permanent position. And teacher attrition is highest for newer teachers and those who have 28-plus years in the field. In 23-24, the attrition rate was 11.7 and 17.5 for teachers with 0 to 5 years of experience, and between 18.5 and 26.8 for veteran educators. So for Columbus County schools, our attrition rate was 11.31, so a little higher. But I can tell you, and the links that I have in here for you go into detail about the report when you see Columbus County Schools. And if you look at the report, if you have any questions or you need my help with it, just reach out to me. But most of the ones that we had the highest was leaving for personal reasons. They don't go into a lot of detail. They'll just put personal reasons, but ours was highest for personal reasons. So Pender County and Bladen County, Brunswick and New Hanover, I put theirs on there as well, and I think Whiteville City was around 8. But there is a link for the teacher attrition report for North Carolina, and then there is a one-page quick overview that you can look at as well. And again, Mr. Beck has a copy of the state's report, which is very thorough and in-depth. So any questions?
No questions, but a comment.
Yes, sir.
Great job, thank you.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
that licensure piece.
Yep.
It's
a
very,
lot.
is very confusing, and you have done a wonderful job.
I actually went to, actually had an hour session at School Board Association meeting, annual meeting about it, and I attended it, and you've done more to help clarify it than they did up there, so thank you.
Thank you, that means a lot.
So, great job.
I think your, the sessions that you were talking about, that you were having.
Yes, sir.
And the one-on-one for those that couldn't
Yes, sir.
attend, I think that's right on point.
Yes,
And I
sir.
think you've got all your bases covered,
Yes, sir.
basically. Your
Thank you.
presentation. So, thank you.
And it only makes sense what you said, you guys are doing by adding that goal into the PDP for our teachers who are working on licensure. It only makes sense. Thank you so much for doing that and
Yes.
that accountability.
Yeah.
Even teachers need reminders, you know?
Yes, and it's a good way for them to, we all have to have some form of accountability.
Yep.
We all have lives outside of school, and you're looking at people with these alternative licenses. We got to remember, they have families.
Yeah.
They have a lot going on. They have to lesson plan, and that's massive. So we want to support them, but at the same time, we want to give them those friendly reminders. Yep.
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I like that too, all the meetings and the documentation that you're doing, because now you are not going to hear, well, I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
You know, and that takes that totally out of the picture, because I'm sure that's come up
Yes,
from
sir.
time to
It
time.
has, and I will
But,
say,
that takes that completely out of the picture. Going forward, they know, now it's up to them to take care of it.
And I will say, we try to stay behind. There's, certain, we have to stay behind, but we do. We try really hard.
so we can actually say that we provide the support through our beginning teacher program as well as HR, so there are actually no excuses. Our teachers, our beginning teachers know that we are here to support them, and we will help them in any way, shape, form, and fashion.
That's right.
But we do appreciate the job that you do, Ms. Chowder.
Absolutely,
for
thank
all
you.
do.
Thank
I got one
you.
last thing.
Of course.
They always try to cut me off. No, they don't.
Yeah, we
So I
do.
will ask you, this is not to blame or criticize DPI or North Carolina or anybody, but can you, maybe in the future, can you tell us some points maybe in alternate license or any parts of your HR that we could represent you, that we could ask for help with, a change or Mr. Skillis, he's already got one. And I've heard that passing the praxis is extremely hard, and I know it has been from the beginning. I remember when my mama had to take it, but I do see that maybe there's some things we need to change or try to get changed.
Yeah, and I think all of that's going to start in Raleigh. And, you know, I think that we all, you know, have a voice.
Yes.
And as an educator myself, I do feel it's extremely complex, but there's also the other side of that. We do want highly qualified teachers teaching our children. But I do think that as far as the praxis goes, I have witnessed firsthand in this role people who are excellent teachers. And principals do not, they love them, they're great, they want to keep them, but they just can't pass the test. So I think that probably one of the things that you guys could do was continue to just voice your opinion to your legislatures and just say, you know, what can be done about praxis requirements. I know it has been talked about before, waiving that, and like the praxis one, to be able to do their student teaching or whatever. And even like with EdTPA, that's a beast, and it's $300 for EdTPA. So it can be very massive, and if they fail it, it's $100 per component, and there's 3 components to EdTPA. So there's also the cost that's involved with that for the teachers.
And that's
we
what I
don't
hear.
have, and yet, you know, we can't, unfortunately, we can't pay that. So this is money they're pulling out of their pocket. However, in part of my conversation today with UNCW, they have, for current enrolled students, $100 to go towards EdTPA, but they have to be a student.
So if you let us know things like that we can speak up for, I'll be glad to.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. That means a lot.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Gerald. All right, we'll move on to review and action on the 25-26 school calendar.
Okay, so again, we have Ms. Tamara Carter. She will present those 2 calendars. I do want to acknowledge Ms. Hunter and Mr. Thompson for their part in developing the new calendar. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Carter.
Okay, so the first is our traditional Columbus County Schools calendar. As far as the calendar is concerned, we are required to have either 1,025 hours or 115 instructional days. So for our traditional calendar, we go with 1,025 hours. And for our calendar for this upcoming school year, we have allotted 1,150.5 hours. And we always like to have a little bit of padding because of weather or other things that may occur. And so we have a calendar committee. Each school has a calendar committee representative, so we meet with them face-to-face. We developed 2 calendars. One was a calendar of testing EOCs before Christmas break, and then the other calendar was testing EOCs after Christmas break. And so we allowed the schools to vote on the calendars, and the calendar that the schools voted on was EOC testing before Christmas break.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
And that was unanimous. Every school voted for that calendar.
I bet it would be unanimous here, too.
Yes. Good.
I was going to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
The state requirement is that we start school the Monday that's the closest to the 21st, right?
25th.
25th. Okay.
Yes,
I had the day, I was going to ask, you know, it's 4 days each way if it's the 21st, so we could start on the 18th, but I didn't realize it was 25th, so.
Yes, sir.
So at this time, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the traditional calendar for the 25-26 school year for Columbus County Schools as presented by Ms. Tamara Carter.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the Columbus County Schools, just the county schools, calendar as presented by Ms. Carter. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice, second by Dr. Strickland. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the calendar is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next we will move right along and we will discuss the Columbus Career and College Academy calendar.
Okay, as far as the career in college is concerned, theirs is a little bit different. The way their program is set up, they are required to have 185 days. So Ms. Godwin and her staff actually developed their own calendar. So their first date would be starting on August the 4th because they're different from the traditional school. And then their last day would be on May the 20th. And again, they are required to have 185 student days.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board approve the 25-26 Columbus Career and College Academy school calendar.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the College and Career Academy calendar as presented by Ms. Carter. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got one by Dr. Strickland. Second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I thought, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe we've changed it, that the graduation was the 22nd. That's going to be 2 days after school ends.
That's this school year, right? This
That's
is next
this
school year.
We're doing next year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No problem.
I was thinking, I'm in this year and y'all are in next year.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. The CCCA calendar is approved.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next we have review and action on the 2025 Columbus County Schools EOG, EOC readministration guidelines. And I'll, again, let Ms. Carter explain to you why we are coming back to the board to hopefully get these approved.
Okay, so just last week, our state superintendent, Mr. Mo Green, came out with some more information, and it will benefit our school system. So in previous years, we were not able to do any type of summer school testing until after the regular school year had ended. Well, that has changed for this school year. So now we are able to do remediation and readministration before school gets out. So that is our plan. We had a Google Meet with the principals last week, and the principals decided that it would be in our best benefit to do our remediation and readministration before school gets out. We will have the students there. We will not have to worry about trying to get students to come back to test, and we also will not have to worry about transportation for our elementary, middle, and our high school students, with the exception of English 2, and we'll talk about that when we discuss the summer school plan. So we would be able to get all of our readministration done, with the exception of English 2 for the spring. And the reason we would not be able to do that, English 2 has constructed response items, and those have to be scored by DPI. And the turnaround time, we will not receive those until at least 6 business days following the test date. So there's no way we would have those results back before school gets out. So our readministration plan, CCCA, since they get out of school earlier, they would begin on May 19th. They would have, it's on the second page, they would begin on May 19th, remediation on the 19th and the 20th, and then they would do EOC testing on Wednesday, May 21st, and makeups on May 22nd, okay? And just want to remind you, students from first semester that were not proficient, that did not make achievement level 3, 4, or 5, are able to retest during this readministration, okay? And biology and science is a new standard this year, so we will not have any science grades 5 and 8 or biology tests this year, because anytime we have a new assessment, they have to do the equating study and set the standards over the summer. Okay, so it would just be ELA and then our maths. Then for our traditional schools, remediation for elementary and middle schools, we would begin on May 30th, so we would have remediation May 30th, the 2nd, and the 3rd. For elementary and middle schools, we would have ELA testing on Wednesday the 4th, math testing on the 5th, and makeups on the last day of school, which would be June the 6th. And in order for a student to take the re-administration, they are required to attend remediation. They can't just show up and take the test if they have not been through the remediation. And then our high schools would begin remediation on Tuesday, June the 3rd, Wednesday, June the 4th, and then they would test on Thursday, June the 5th, and again, makeups that last day of school on Friday, May the 6th. Excuse me, June the 6th.
And one thing, as you said, one thing I really like about this is this will provide us an opportunity to capture the English 2 students from first semester that we usually miss because it's hard to get them back after school has ended to retest. So hopefully that will be one major beneficial part of this. So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the re-administration 2025 guidelines as presented by Ms. Carter.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the re-administration 2025 guidelines as presented by Ms. Carter. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Ms. Cross.
Second.
Second by Mr. Worthing. Oh, Mr. Strickland, I thought it was him, I weren't looking. Before any discussion,
One thing, so do you think it'll be very effective for them to even go, the ones that took it first semester? If you get that remediation in, you think it's gonna make a difference?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It can only help us.
And Ms. Hunter, would you like to add anything to that? Because we had a lengthy discussion about it. You know, it definitely cannot hurt us. It can
Right.
only help.
Higher of the school.
Yep.
and as far as the last day of school, the only ones that would take it that day are somebody that just had not shown up the whole time.
That is correct.
That's not a scheduled, really, it's gonna be nothing but makeup.
Right.
That is
So
correct.
Some
there'll
type
be
of
very few-
extenuating circumstance, yes, sir.
Gotcha. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion's carried. The re-administration guidelines are approved.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have review and action on the 2025 Columbus County Schools EOC Summer School 2025 guidelines, and Ms. Carter will present those.
Okay? And again, this will just be for English 2, because again, we would not have the results back in time to do the re-administration for English 2 spring before school gets out. So for CCCA, we would have remediation on the 27th and the 28th, and test on May 29th. And then for our traditional schools, we would have remediation on June the 11th and test on June the 12th. So we would have to provide transportation, but our teachers would still be employed, so we would not have to worry about that extra funding for teachers.
So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the Summer School 2025 guidelines as presented by Ms. Carter.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the summer school 2025 guidelines as presented by Ms. Carter. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Worley,
Second.
second by Mr. Renzer. Any more discussion?
One thing, I would be interested to see the data, how we're been doing in English 2. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But is it like that every year that they can't get them graded and back to us?
Yes, sir, and that's because of the constructive response items and it having to go to that outside scoring.
So
company.
is English 2 usually lower? Or is it okay?
We're struggling with English too.
Okay, so again, if
been
it's
an area
something
of
that has
concern.
to be sent back and they can't get it graded and get it back to us, then maybe that's something we as a board need to discuss and because getting these kids back to summer school is not gonna make much difference. I'm just gonna lay it out there. But thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the motion's carried. The summer school 2025 guidelines are approved.
Okay,
Move to the local articulation agreement.
okay, so the local articulation agreement is between Columbus County Schools and Southeastern Community College. and it is to facilitate the awarding of college credit for high school students who successfully complete the teacher cadet program in any of the high schools. So this agreement would allow students that successfully completing one or more of the following high school courses. They may obtain articulated credit for the corresponding college course listed in the chart below. So if a student, in our case, takes Teacher Cadet 1 and Teacher Cadet 2, they would receive credit for EDU 216 Foundations of Education at Southeastern. And another major component of this that is really well thought out is that course will transfer to UNCP. So, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board approve the local articulation agreement as discussed.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the local articulation agreement with Southeastern Community College. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice.
Second.
Second by Mr. Enzer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion's carried. The local articulation agreement's approved. Okay, we'll go to student support services.
Okay, first on the agenda with student support services, we have review and action on Vector Solutions. We have an invoice for a total of $63,871.30. That is for a 3-year period. Vector Solutions is basically the hub that provides PD to our staff and students for mental health, helps out with HR, and provides options for work days for transportation, like if we have a virtual day. It's basically a library of PD that we have utilized very successfully in the past, and we have an opportunity to go into a 3-year agreement at the cost of $63,871.30. So, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board approve the Vector Solutions invoice.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the agreement with Vector Solutions for an amount of $63,871.30. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Strickland.
Second.
Second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The contract with Vector Solutions is approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have review and action on Educator's Handbook, Incidents and Invoice. So again, this is another invoice. We had an opportunity to extend this contract for 3 years for a total of $38,304. I think you are all familiar with Educator's Handbook that houses all of our discipline data. It will correlate currently with Power School, but it will also be able to communicate very effectively with Infinite Campus. So I would recommend that the board approve the invoice for Educator's Handbook in the amount of $38,304.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the contract with Educator's Handbook for $38,304. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice,
Second.
second by Mr. Enzer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The Educator's Handbook's approved.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have review and action for Plasma Games, and this is an invoice for a grant. This grant was a competitive grant on NCCCIP that Mr. Kelly Jones completed, applied for, and received. It is for 3D game-based learning platforms. And anything else you would like to add to that, Mr. Jones, since you are around the corner?
No, we've been using the program for about 3.5 years now.
Okay. So that is in the amount, Mr. Chairman, of $96,480, but again, that was a competitive grant. So I would recommend that the board approve the invoice in the amount of $96,480.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the contract with Plasma Games for $96,480. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Worley. Got a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Grice. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, the motion with plasma games is approved. All right, we'll move to auxiliary services, and
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have 4 of the following items that are just for review of information. Our first is an invoice from Davy Resource Group, invoice number 78594. That is for the wetland evaluation of the new East Columbus School project in the amount of $1,128. The second item is LS3P invoice 92119. That is for developmental design phase, the work that they're doing in the developmental design phase for the new school in the amount of $127,411.56. And that is exactly 50% that we have paid for the developmental design phase so far for our new school. Third, we have True IP Solutions, quote number 23150 in the amount of $24,156.60. That is for the intercom and camera system that will be in the Williams Township project. And last, we have Metcon. This is billing application number 3 for the amount of $27,300. This is also for the East Columbus project, and this is pre-construction work. That's all
Okay.
we have for review of information at this time.
all right, we'll move to review and action on Vision 21.
Mr. Chairman, the next 4 items are review and action. The first, Vision 21, quote number 1744. This is a turnkey install of projector and sound system and controls in the new Williams Township Gym project. The cost on that would be $49,080.
So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the Vision 21 invoice in the amount of $49,080.
You've heard the recommendation of superintendent that we approve the Vision 21 invoice for $49,080 for the new equipment in the new Williams Township Gym. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Strickland,
Second.
second by Mr. Worley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the Vision 21 motion, invoice is approved.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next we have Child Nutrition Program Procurement Plan. This procurement plan has not changed. We only need a new signature due to the fact that we've had a change in superintendent and board chair. That process will remain exactly the same. So at this time, we just need the approval so that we can get those new signatures.
So, Mr. Chairman, I propose that the board approve the Child Nutrition Program Procurement Plan as written and discussed by Mr. Thompson.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the Child Nutrition Program Procurement Plan. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice,
Second.
second by Mr. Enzer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion's carried. The Child Nutrition Program Procurement Plan is approved.
Mr. Chairman, next we have a distribution request for repair and renovative funds from the North Carolina Educational Lottery in the amount of $380,000, and this will be used for the East Columbus HVAC project. This has been approved, and we have received a certificate of review from NCDPI and also has been signed by the Columbus County Commissioners.
So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the distribution request Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund from the North Carolina Education Lottery for the East Columbus Junior Senior High School HVAC project in the amount of $380,000.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the distribution of funds from the North Carolina State Lottery for East Columbus Junior Senior High School for the HVAC system for $380,000. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice.
Second.
Second by Mr. Enzer. Any discussion?
Are they going to finish this one and finish it right, or is it going to be a continuous problem like it is at West Columbus High School?
That is the plan, for them to finish it right.
I can promise you, we will be able to work on the controls, and we will be able to manage it.
Well, I was talking about the high school in the gym because it
understand.
works half the time
I
too.
understand. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, we're paying somebody $400,000 to do something that works half the time. So you may as well say that's an $800,000 cost if it works half the time, and that's unacceptable. So,
Note take.
needs to
Duly
work. Sorry.
Not a problem.
These HVAC systems that these companies are putting in work half the time. And there's always a problem with them, and it's getting old.
Well, the good thing about the two that we're talking about tonight, that we have purchased that equipment ourselves, so our guys are familiar with them, and we'll be able to work
We'll be
on
able
it.
to,
Okay.
we'll be able to work on them, and we'll be able to do the controls. So we won't be caught in some of the same situations that you were discussing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I do appreciate that. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about that. It's aggravating when you spend all that money and it doesn't work half the time, and you hear it from the public.
We agree wholeheartedly. They're passionate about air conditions as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Any more discussion on the East Columbus one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. The $380,000 distribution request for East Columbus is approved.
Mr. Chairman, next we have a distribution request for the repair and renovation funds of North Carolina Educational Lottery in the amount of $380,000 for South Columbus HVAC unit in the gym. Again, this money has been approved by DPI, and we have our certificate of review from them as well, and it also has been signed by the county commissioners.
So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve the distribution request from the Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund from the North Carolina Education Lottery for the South Columbus High School HVAC system, and that is also in the amount of $380,000.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the distribution request for Public School Building and Repair and Renovation Fund from North Carolina Lottery for $380,000 for the South Columbus HVAC system. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Worley. Second by Mr. Enzer. It's hot that night there, wasn't it,
Yeah,
Chris?
it was.
Any discussion?
I'd like to lodge my same complaint.
Mr. Strickland,
We have noted.
we've purchased that equipment, and we will be able to work on it.
Lodge my same statement regarding South Columbus.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. The motion for South Columbus HVAC systems approved. All right, we'll move to general items and student youth.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, this is just a review. I find this program very interesting. It actually has originated from a grant from the Sand Hills Regional Education Consortium, which I'm a part of with Dr. Hargrave and Dr. Batts from DPI. And it is called Student U Community Schools. So why full-service community schools? At Student U, our purpose is to improve the academic, mental, and physical health of North Carolina students by developing full-service community schools across our region. They're expanding that. Again, that grant was written initially for Clinton and Sampson County. So they lobbied the people in charge of the grant to expand that. So they agreed to expand that to all PSUs in the Sand Hills region. Now, this is, new and just developing, so I have a lot more information as we move along. But their goal is to hire a coordinator, which will be a regional coordinator by June. And then we would have a community school coordinator at one of our local high schools sometime around January of 2026. So this program focuses on integrated student support services, expanded and enriched learning, family and community engagement, and collaborative leadership. So it does touch many of the things that we are trying to improve on. And I just want to keep y'all up to date, and as I get more information, I will share that along the way in future board meetings.
Thank you for that. We'll move on to the review and action on in-state overnight field trips.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, on review and action on in-state overnight field trips, we have West Columbus High School requesting to go to the North Carolina FFA Center, White Lake, North Carolina, July 28th through August the 2nd. We have West Columbus High School Chapter Officer Leadership Camp in Bryson City, North Carolina, August the 3rd through August the 9th. We have West Columbus School requesting to go to North Carolina Envirothon Competition in Burlington, North Carolina, May the 2nd through May the 3rd. And then we have Columbus County Schools Indian Education, North Carolina Native Youth Organization Conference at UNC Wilmington from June the 19th through June the 22nd. So, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board approve those 4 in-state overnight field trip requests.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the 4 overnight in-state field trips that have been presented here. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Strickland, a second by Mr. Enzer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, the field trips are approved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to move right along to review and action on school out-of-state overnight trip request. Tabor City School is requesting to go to the National Beta Club Convention in Orlando, Florida from June the 26th through July the 3rd. I would recommend that the board approve that out-of-state overnight field trip request.
Heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the Tabor City School field trip to the National Beta Club for a National Beta Club trip in Orlando, Florida. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Ms. Grice, second by Mr. Strickland. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the Tabor City field trip's approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now we'll move along to the review and action on school out-of-state
Oh,
trip.
we got one more.
Sorry.
We got Brook Green Garden here with Tabor City.
That's what
Yeah, that's what,
Huh?
He's doing that now.
I'm doing
yeah.
that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll-
So Tabor City School is requesting to go to Brook Green Gardens in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, April 17th, 2025. So I would recommend that the board approve that field trip request.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the Tabor City School to Brook Green Garden in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina field trip. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Worley,
Second.
second by Mr. Ensley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing, the ayes have it, the Tabor City Schools approved field trip.
Okay, next, Mr. Chairman, we have dates to remember. The first one, the distribution and display of non-school materials for our high schools. We had to move that date because it was originally scheduled for March the 6th, which was one of our weather dates. So we moved that date to April the 15th. We have our AIG Showcase at East Columbus Junior Senior High School, April the 15th from 6 to 7 p.m. We have a holiday April 18th. Spring break will be April the 21st through April 25th. EC Field Day at East Columbus Junior Senior High School will be April the 30th. I would highly encourage, if you have not attended this event, I think this is the 3rd year, Ms. McCready, if I'm not mistaken. If you have not attended this event, I would highly encourage you to attend it. It's absolutely amazing what they're doing down at East on EC Field Day. That's a very good event. And then, of course, we will have our called board meeting on May the 5th at 5 p.m. Okay.
Moves us to finance then.
Okay, first up on finance, we have review and action on amendment to the cafeteria plan 2025. Mr. Nolan.
Thank you and good afternoon. So just want to talk about that cafeteria plan, better known as a flexible spending account in that regard. So the amendment for the plan for the 2025 year is to sync our deductions with the IRS standards. They've expanded that to $3,300 on a tax year. Last year was $3,200, so there was a $100 increase this year. That is the amendment for that plan.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board approve the amendment to the cafeteria plan 2025 as presented by Mr. Nolan.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent that we approve the amendment to the cafeteria plan 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So, second.
Got a motion by Mr. Worley, second by Dr. Strickland. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion's carried, the amendment to the cafeteria plan is approved.
Okay, so second on finance, we have school year 2024-2025 budget and audit update, April 2025. So again, I will turn that over to Mr. Nolan.
Right. Thank you, sir. So just want to go over our allotment updates. So as of today, we've received allotment 86 for the state. We are well on our way to winding down the fiscal year. Federal current expense percentage is at 64.9%, or approximately $6.4 million. State funds are currently expensed at 76.5%, or approximately $38.3 million. Local current fund expense percentage of 75.3%, or approximately $5 million. From a cash flow perspective, we remain able to draw federal and state funds and local funds as well, so no liquidity issues for Columbus County Schools. Audit, spoke with you guys last month, or at the last meeting, we would have an audit report at the end of April. I spoke with our auditor today, so that timeline has got pushed back a little bit. So we are in the final stages of that process of getting the audit report completed. The auditor has no withstanding out information from us at this point in time. There's just been a little additional back and forth, being that this is the first review year for that firm and our school. So it's just taking a little bit extra time to, get through that data. And it's also taking a little bit of time for us to learn and overcome and adapt to what the previous auditors have done as well. So that completes my review, sir.
Okay, next, number 3, we have Pierce Group Benefits Client Service Contract that Mr. Nolan will also present.
All right. Last but not least, so before you have a signed contract I wanted you to be aware of. That contract was in the amount of $1,200 for 1 calendar year. What that contract does is it is a reconciliation service for all of our benefits through Pierce Group. The $1,200 specifically was a reconciliation for our state health plan, which, as you know, is 25% of our employment costs. So we're talking, multi-million dollars. That review is at $100 a month, in addition to the eyes that we have internally. So just want to make sure that everything is tight as can be in that health plan. So that is the review. Last but not least, want to tell you all of our benefits from Pierce Group, these are auxiliary benefits for employees. All of them came at no plan change or rate change, and that was for dental, vision, and group term. And thanks to this board, we are now offering Chubb long-term care, nationwide pet insurance, and there's still options for telemedicine and student loan assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Okay, at this point, we need a motion for closed session.
I move that Columbus County Board of Education go into closed session in accordance with the opening meeting laws, GS 143-318-11A13. Discuss information that's privileged, confidential, or not of public record. Consult with attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body.
Have a motion from Mr. Renzer to go into closed session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Rice. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. We are now in closed session.